Yeah, okay, so welcome to McBoss Capital channel. Just want to quickly talk about the Truflation Index here. Currently, you can see it's on a downtrend. And recently, it's interesting that it has continued to go lower. Now it's 1.82%, which is, the lowest it has been in a long time. So this is a 1-year chart. Here's the 10-year yield chart. You can see it was on a really strong downtrend. It broke that strong downtrend. Now it's slightly moving up, and now it's facing the long-term moving average at the 50-day line. And you can see it kind of passed through a couple of times now. On Wednesday, Thursday came back down, but then Friday it also tried to come back out again. There's a chance that it could break through and hold at this level. That's what it looks like it's trying to do. So this is not the best thing for at least some growth areas, because they tend to counter trend each other. So this week really it's on a trading range right here. So as long as it doesn't break through the high on Wednesday, I think the market will be okay. But if it does break through, I think the market might, in general, at least some of the growth area might start to pull back. But yeah, it's gonna be hard to say. I don't know why the 10-year yield is holding so strong at this level, because I was expecting it to come back down last week, but obviously you can see it didn't. And so yeah, so I think this would at least for the meantime, I would be a little bit cautious about the market until this breaks back down. And if this breaks back down, then that's good news. Then we can possibly see another rally. Yeah, you can see the US dollar also, very similar trend. It has bounced back slightly. Of course, you can see the 50-day. Again, there's some issue with this chart right here, because there's this big gap down that shouldn't have happened. They have yet to fix it on MarketSmith, but you can see it's I think the 50-day line is probably closer to here now. So again, it's stuck in the trading range right now. We'll see what will happen. So this also seems to correlate a little bit with the 10-year yield. And then finally we have the oil price. The oil price, funny enough, it broke the long-term trend, the 50-day line, and so this is we're starting to hear some people talk about it. It's not so good news for inflation, right? Obviously. But yeah, so that could also be another possible reason why the 10-year yield is staying so high. So I think this would be, this really follow through with Thursday and Friday, which is a breakout in a sense, and some oil stocks starting to move. So yeah, that there might be opportunity there if you want to focus on this. Yeah, definitely this has surprised me as well. I'm not sure if there was any specific reason why the oil price jumped, but this is definitely telling us that something's happening in that area. So using McBoss Capital tool here, and we can see the top groups this week. We have banks, so banks also doing well. Some of the regional banks, so that's also interesting. And we have oil and gas group, right? As we talk about the oil price, we've seen the field service area starting to move here, and then transport pipeline has been strong for a long time now, so they continue to move. We're seeing a computer software area like enterprise, special enterprise also move this week. We also see the airline move this week. A few of them reported this week. We saw banks foreign here as well. Insurance group has been strong for a while now. Investment banker groups, tech services, and so on. So again, we see more banks group coming up. So this week overall, I would say the financial area did pretty well, and then some of the software also did well. And yeah, I think the most surprising is the some of the oil and gas area, because the oil price has come back up. So we're looking at the market trend this week. We're still in confirmed uptrend according to IBD, and we did see two what they call stalling days this week, Monday and Wednesday. What that means is the market was going up but not much, or sometimes it went up so little, like 0.2 or 0.3%, but the volume is super high, and they call those stalling days. And it could be what that means is like they do add that as a distribution day, just because generally when you see higher volume buying, you want to see the index move, right? But when it doesn't move, it kind of signifies that there's more selling than buying in that sense. So that's why they call it stalling day. So yeah, so the S&P now has like like 7 distribution days because of the 2 stalling days. But NASDAQ was able to only have 1 right now. So yeah, so that's interesting, right? Like like in history they said that having stalling days, it doesn't mean it's necessarily bad, but it definitely something to be cautious about, because sometimes in the market tops they do have stalling days, and so that's why interesting that we have 2 of those this week on S&P. But overall, you can see from the green color highlight here, we have more accumulation on stocks, and you can see like 300 to 200 range net accumulate. Yeah, so this is the accumulation, and then we have some distribution, and then on industry groups we also saw more accumulation than distribution. On the sector side, started out the week pretty strong with financial, technology, retail, and industrial, and that carried on to Tuesday, and then Wednesday, some of them back out a little bit, and we still have some accumulation on technology and financial. So those 2 seems to be the most consistent throughout the week. And then by Friday we actually saw a little bit of a turnaround from the from some of the middle of the week. We see some retail, industrial, and commodities came back, and again you can see the commodities have been rising this week throughout the week, and as we saw the oil price starting to move up, and that could be the part of the reason. Health stock actually kind of didn't do as well, so that's also interesting. But yeah, in general, most of the sectors are doing okay. One of the things I do notice on the indexes, at least, my portfolio, because it's more diversified, it has been more correlated to the small cap index, which is Russell 2000, just because my portfolio contains more stocks, and most of them are in the small cap area. So I noticed that when NASDAQ do well doesn't necessarily mean my portfolio is doing well. So what happened this week is we saw Monday, Tuesday, and then even Wednesday. You can see the peak here on Wednesday. Thursday and Friday kind of came back down a little bit. Not much on the index, but you can see it came back down a little bit. And I'm sure if you look at some of the NASDAQ stocks, you probably see similar behavior. And then if you look at S&P, it should be very similar. Yeah, you can see it went up again Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Wednesday it has a peak there. Thursday came back down slightly. Friday, it didn't move much at all. Like it tried to come out, but it still closed at the low end. But it's a very tight range, so I wouldn't worry too much about it. And you can see the volume is much lower on Friday. So yeah, so I think S&P is still looking okay. Even same thing with NASDAQ. The volume is pretty low on Friday. So now I think with next week so many things happening. I think market is gonna not do too much because they're just gonna wait and see what those news look like, right? Earnings and what the Fed's gonna do and what the job number look like, all that stuff. We'll go to Dow. So what I noticed, it's almost like weird, like Monday to Wednesday, like we saw Nasdaq and SP went up, but then Thursday, Friday they kind of fall back a little, right? But on Dow, and actually I think the same thing with Russell. It was actually the opposite, right? Like Monday to Wednesday, it was actually going down, but then Thursday and Friday it rebound. So yeah, I did see that kind of little change there. So which is interesting, right? Like it's been, Dow has been like very weak this year, and then we have this few updates bounce here more than a week ago, and then like I said, it hasn't correlated as well with S&P and Nasdaq. Yeah, so if we look at Russell, yeah, you see Wednesday, okay, so you hear, it kind of went down Tuesday, Wednesday, so Monday to Wednesday going down, and then Thursday, Friday, it bounced back very slightly, right? But nonetheless, it did close on the positive side. So yeah. So again, we need to take the Russell with a grain of salt because it has had a huge rally, right, since November bottom, and you look at this rally here, which is very substantial, and then it gave back about slightly more than 1/3, I would say, right? So yeah, roughly around that, and so it's not like bad or anything, but it did give back 1/3, and so if you're holding some of the stocks in the Russell, you probably experienced quite a big whiplash here. It has bounced back slightly, but not too much, and it seems to be stuck at this trading range now. A lot of people point out it has huge problem right here at the 2000 level. So we're testing the 2000 level again, definitely. And we go look at the weekly chart. This has been one of the longest trend here. You see 2000. It just constantly bump up against here and have problems, right? So we might try one more time, or it might just fail. I don't know. It's hard to say, but yeah, let's see what's gonna happen here. I think at least for my type of stocks that I have in my portfolio, it seems like it correlates well better to this one. So I'm hoping this will break through. But yeah, so the 50-day line, you can see the red line has starting to catch up. It's probably if I draw at the peak here, you can see it's at the highest level ever. So that's a good sign. So the 50-day, at least it's acting healthy. And same thing with the 200-day, like the black line here. It's near the top anyway, and it's also slanting upward. So eventually it's gonna break out, I think. But it's just a question of when. I think usually after 3 times it tend to work. The 4th time it did, but it came back down. And test it. It's gonna test it one more time. So really, it's all about patience right now. But I'm seeing a little bit of a small good sign, at least at the stock level. Some of the small cap stocks are breaking out. Like I said, banks are very noticeable. So as we saw earlier, there's quite a regional banks are starting to move. So that could help, bring this index to higher levels. So yeah, we see the Dow. I mean, most of the index now making new highs, except the small cap, right? So on Monday, it mentioned that QQQ and SPY had a very bullish up and down volume ratio. So we just saw that, right? Like if you go back to I mean, it's probably the same thing with Nasdaq as well. But but let's just pull up QQQ for a second. So you can see there's a lot more blue at the top, and then the red there's one higher red here. Again, lower red here. So at least in recent days, it seems like, you know, not only we have more blue days, but yeah, even the red days are not high volume. So that could, you know, signify that number here. So yeah, so right now, you know, small cap is still lagging big time. That's one thing mentioned here. On Wednesday, we had really a rough day, right? A big downside reversal day. And then, you know, yeah, we have the 10-year yield, so kind of getting stronger. And then we had the Thursday GTP, which I really feel like is a strong number, 3.3% versus 2%. You know, and then you have durable goods kind of a little bit mixed there. And then you have initial jobless claims also rose to 214,000, which is higher number. And then on Friday we had the PCE number, which came out, you know, 2.9% at the core level, which is, you know, we finally hit the two number here. You know, again, better than the 3% estimated. Also better than previous month of 3.2. So those are all, like I say, I feel like the economic news are really good and the inflation numbers look really good. I think the market has a chance, right? Because of these numbers here. But the problem is the market didn't react to it, which is at least not in a really strong way. So I don't know what that means, because, you know, generally when there's good numbers, they tend to react, but this time it didn't. So perhaps, you know, like I said, market is just really waiting to see what's going to happen next week. Obviously, you know, we're going to have big cap earnings coming out, right? Apple, Google, Microsoft, those guys will really, you know, set the tone for the earnings. You know, I heard it was like over 20% of S&P will report, so that's like one of the biggest weeks. So that will also give a strong indication how the earnings look like. And again, you know, everyone has their own target. I think Jeremy Siegel came out 242 is what they expected for this. What he expected for this year. At Yadini it was like 250. So everyone has their own number, but these are definitely the more bullish numbers. So whether they can hit those targets, that will be interesting to see. Yeah. Let's talk about, like, you know, the bigger trend here. Let me go back to Nasdaq, and we'll go to the weekly chart. So, you know, we are on this uptrend right now on the big picture, and you can see the 50-day slope is pretty strong. It's probably at a 40-degree angle. It's pretty strong. And the last time we have this uptrend, you know, was last year. And if you count from, like, I think from this bottom here, we had 19 weeks up. So right now we are, I believe we are 13 weeks up, right? Out 13 weeks. Yeah, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so we had 13 weeks in this rally, and only one down week, right? Which is a very bad week that week. But other than that week, which is at the beginning of the year, right? So other than that week, like, you know, it seems like it's pretty strong right now. Yeah. So that's good news. At least on the you know, by looking at the weekly chart, I think things are standing pretty strong. And, you know, like I said, the last one was 19 weeks, and you can see from previous bull market we have longer duration, like 23 weeks up, 15 weeks up. So, you know, we're getting closer and closer to some sort of peak here, whether it's you know, a few more weeks or whatever, I don't know. But, you know, definitely, you know, by now most of the leaders have already been quite extended, and then they might offer other entry for new buy points, but yeah, they should be mostly extended now. So so the other thing I want to talk about is, like, you know, the equal weight, right? So let's look at RSP, and you can see this week is up, you know, 1.08%. So we go back to S&P this week. Yeah, I think this one is also up 1.06. So it's very similar. Let me look at NASDAQ equal weight. So this one's up. Okay, it's not up that much at all. 0.53. Okay, so I just want to see if there's any difference here. So again, why are we looking at the equal weight? So this one, yeah. So actually, this one still outperformed the equal weight. We just trying to see if there's any when the equal weight does at least as well as the weighted, it means that there's more broader breadth, right? So so what we want to see the market rally extend to other type, not just the bigger caps or the ones that are in QQQ, but also other related ones. So this page on IB newspaper, we see the accumulation distribution on both NASDAQ and S&P still looks pretty good at B plus B. So definitely we're seeing accumulation doing well. The other thing we want to look at is this advanced decline line right here. You can see S&P actually trending upward. It's actually getting closer to its high, so that's a good sign. I mean, it's been lagging for right at the beginning, right here, but it has come back up quite a bit. So I think that's overall a healthy sign as well. The Nasdaq is still a little bit, hasn't really shown as much strength still. That is a worrisome sign. But I think as long as one of these at least look good, I think it's okay. But yeah, so definitely Nasdaq again. Most of the tech stocks are not participating. Whereas at least more of the S&P are participating. So that's very interesting. So this is the Nasdaq, and this bottom line here this is what we just saw, is the advanced decline line. And you can see the blue line is where the advanced decline line is moving, and it's hasn't moved much, right? It's been going in downtrend, and even recently it's kind of flat. And the pink line is the moving average, which is the 10-day moving average, and you can see it has been below that line for a while now. Now it's starting to at least at the same level almost. It actually come up a little bit higher, but still we want to see this kind of at least right this right here, where it stays above it, and that'll be a good uptrend. And that was what happened in November, December right here. And here we want to see that trend change here as it start to climb back above the 10-day. So and then we go to the New York Stock Exchange, which is also related to S&P, and you see S&P did a lot better, right? So the advanced decline line was also on a downtrend, but you see in recent week it broke out and it came back above the 10-day, and now it's making new highs, right? So this is a really good sign for S&P. So yeah, so definitely some change here this week, which is, I think, is good news. Again, it means the market could be expanding, at least on the New York Stock Exchange. We haven't seen that in the Nasdaq, but who knows, right? With the earnings news coming up, maybe that could change. But yeah, this too is it's something good to pay attention to, because we definitely want to see the market breadth expand, so that this rally can really continue with strong legs, right? So we're gonna have let's look at economic calendar here. We have S&P Case-Shiller Home Price Index on Tuesday. Then we have the ADP employment on Wednesday. And then we have jobless claims every Thursday. We have some ISM manufacturing number. And then we have non-farm payrolls. Yeah, on unemployment rate on Friday. So those are the key economic news. And then we have the Fed speaker, right? They're gonna meet on Wednesday. So this is next week. Sorry, this is the week after. So we'll go back to CME futures for the interest rate, and you can see the next meeting is 31st, which is this coming Wednesday. So obviously everyone expects no change, but the question is what they're going to say about the March meeting. Right now you can see market has actually came back down quite a bit in terms of expectation for a cut. So now there's more people thinking that it will stay hold on in March, slightly more, not much, just because the numbers are a little bit stronger than before, right? Like, you know, what we just saw, good GDP number and good inflation number, and because the economy is so strong, they're not too worried about cutting rates, you know, that the economy is hurting, right? So that's why, you know, this is now leaning back towards holding it in March, and I think that's most likely what will happen. You know, I don't see it changing, honestly, like, unless, because the economy number is so good, right? You know, unless unemployment rate tank, which is possible. We did see here a lot of cuts, right? Job cuts this new year, so it is possible, you know, unemployment could come down faster. If that happens, yeah, I think this could change too. So unless that happens, I think that will change. But in terms of GDP growth, economy, everything is sounding good. So I don't think they'll change on that front, but they might change if the labor market starts to deteriorate much faster. So, you know, let's just look forward. Yeah, so, you know, so now market is saying, hey, there's a 50% chance it will cut in May, and probably so forth after that. So that's like, yeah, so you see, it's starting to price in. You know, even this number, I feel like it's lower now. It used to be a little bit higher. So even going forward, you know, so again, at the end of the day, there's two strong indicators: the economy growth and the labor market, right? So so unless the labor market deteriorate much faster than everyone imagined, I don't see them cutting rates that early. And the market is starting to price that in now. So, but you know, there's still a chance, right? Like, it's not like this 80% no, like holding. It's only around 50%. So there's still a chance that they could cut if things deteriorate. Like I said, the labor market, we'll see on Friday. So I feel like the market probably won't move much on Wednesday, you know, unless the Fed says something that shocks people. But I don't think there's anything that's shocking anymore. If there is any shocking, it will probably be to the upside, I feel, because I think the market already been expecting that they won't cut as much as you know, people hope, right? So 3 cuts is what most analysts say. So anything above that would be a bonus. So that's why, you know, like even I think the futures are still, I think they're still, so you see, they're still, but the futures has changed, right? So cut in May, June, probably July too. Yeah, July, September. Yeah, keep going. So yeah, they're still pricing in quite a bit of cuts. So down to 4 and 3.7. So yeah, see, it's still pricing 6 cuts so far, but things could change because like before it was March was also cut. So you know, I think as long as and that's a good thing. I think because so many people, like at least at the analyst front, I feel like most of them were reasonable. 3 to 4 cuts is what most of them expect. There's only 1 or 2 analysts I've seen so far that expect 5 or more cuts. But yeah, so because, you know, so many people are cautious about that, I think the market should be okay. And like I say, when the labor, and it will happen eventually, when the labor market does deteriorate, there will probably, like someone, I can't remember who said this, but there will probably an initial shock. But after that, the bull market should continue because the Fed will be there to save the day, right? So something to watch out for. So if Friday, let's say the unemployment number comes out much weaker, the market might have a huge shock at the beginning, but then it probably will recover because you know, market will expect the Fed to do something about that. So yeah, so I don't know when that's gonna happen. It could happen. I feel like it could happen soon. So we are at extreme greed level. So that is interesting on the CNN Fear Greed Index. So let's look at the timeline here. So we have climbed back above this week. So we're at the top of the range, and so yeah, so definitely, you know, there's some greed here. Look at AAII. Now, this is only up to Wednesday, so it did drop slightly on the bullish side, and also the bearish side also dropped slightly. So overall, I would say it's like still quite bullish. But yeah, it has been dropping 48, 40, and then let's just say it's around 40 this week. So yeah, so you know, I don't know what happened on Thursday and Friday because this is only till Wednesday. So yeah, let's look at the oscillator right now. If we go to NASDAQ, go to oscillator here. So yeah, here we're seeing the same thing. We are at the top of the range for NASDAQ. So that also spelled a little bit of cautious, you know, to be contrarian a little bit. The same here with S&P. You know, it's possible that we're getting very near, at least possible top here on the index, right? So yeah, so something to be aware of. The Russell is probably the opposite, actually. Let's see. Oops.
That indexes.
Yeah, like, you know, Russell on the weekly chart. So on the so I'm looking at the weekly chart here. So this one, yeah, also near the high on the weekly. Let me go to daily. Yeah, so the daily is still in the middle ground. On the weekly chart, it definitely look extended. That's interesting. Let's go back to S&P daily. Yeah, so daily, so both weekly and daily is extended like near the top. Probably same for NASDAQ. Yeah. So yeah, so you know, only Russell is you know, like I say, on the weekly it's also extended, but on the daily it's halfway, and then we have Dow. But you know, so yeah, so here you see Russell and Dow is kind of lagging, right? So now it's coming back up, like, you know. So, but on the weekly chart, you see it's quite extended. So yeah, like I say, 13 weeks, right? Like if we look at weekly chart, we are 13 weeks. We're getting closer and closer to the average, you know, which is probably 16 to 20 weeks. That's usually the average based on IBD study in the past. So usually a rally lasts about on average 4.5 months, something like that. Before another significant correction or something like that, right? So, but you know, because right now it's earnings season, and we only really have one week of of earnings last week, and not many, right? Like, you know, so, but this week will be a better indicator of how the earnings season goes. So I would definitely wait for this week to see, you know, what the sentiment feels like based on the earnings. Yeah. So I mean, I know we had a bad earnings from Tesla, and it's unfortunate, but it has been, you know, on a downtrend, right? We talked about this for many weeks now. Again, the trend line, that it broke through, but it failed to make much headway. And then after that, we saw this huge drop, and then now it's accelerating, and we undercut all the, you know, the base lows, and now we're going back to, you know, a much older base lows here, which is around 150 to 160. Whether it can survive there, I have no idea. But the downtrend is definitely happening, right? Like, so yeah, so that's one bad news, and I think the biggest problem with their earnings was there's no guidance, right? So they didn't provide any guidance for this year, which is really bad news for, because analysts don't like when there's no guidance, especially on a mega cap stock like this. So a lot of analysts, I heard so many of them, even like Kramer for sure was one of them, but so many of them like saying how Tesla is no longer a magnificent stock, right? So yeah, so I don't know if the selling will continue as more institutions might get out, or starting to unload. I don't know. So this could spell a lot of trouble. The downtrend is pretty strong in the weekly chart. That's a 45-degree angle, right? So and this is the bear market low, which is near 100, right? 100, yeah, 101 as the low. So yeah. So unless they can change something significantly, the story is kind of like, you see the numbers are really looking pretty bad now. So even the sales, look at the sales number, it's like going down to almost no growth, right? So yeah, I think it's no longer definitely not a magnificent stock anymore, but can it survive? I don't know. That's the next big question. Yeah, but the chart looks pretty ugly right now. I mean, there's a lot of people piling, right? Pile in here. There's two base right here, and even here, right? So that's why if it undercut this base, I think game over. Like I think a lot of people will get out, because this is a lot of people, right here. See that? This is like how many? 2.5 years for sure. 2.5 years of consolidation. If it breaks that line, I think like it's big trouble. It broke it before, right? We saw that, and and then we saw people come back in. But it depends who you talk to. Like Cathy Woods are still buying Tesla right now. Like, but she's more of a trader now. She even admit that on CNBC. she thinks they're stuck in the range for a long time, so she's just trading in and out. So but for the long-term investors, are they gonna stick around? I think that's a bigger question. At least for this year, right? Because this year, the volume is pretty high too. So yeah, I don't know what does the volume look like. 198. Okay, average is around 118. So it's okay. It's not like more than 2 times. I thought it was more than 2 times, but the other stuff that report was Netflix, right? And this one was huge. I mean, 13 million subscribers. That really shocked me. I mean, I don't know how they can gross up that much in one quarter, but they did. And that really shocked the market, and the stock that compensated nicely, 10% on that day. It followed to Thursday, and it followed to Friday, like 3 days in a row. This is really strong action, and Netflix is one of those stocks that is known to gap back on earnings, right here. It did that. It's been doing that for as long as I can remember. It loves to gap out on earnings, and now it's doing it again. So and usually it does follow through, as far as I can remember. So whenever there's gap up, like I was buying that day, I was buying Thursday, I was buying Friday, and it tends to follow through. It might have some pullback like right here, because sometimes it gets too far away from the 50-day, and it does pull back. But in general, they usually go on the uptrend. So that's why I don't even hesitate on buying the stock after the earnings, especially with that kind of numbers. And I am I do use Netflix with the ad model, and I do realize this last few days, well, I don't usually watch Netflix all the time, but I did notice it last night. I was watching, there's a lot more ads from different companies. So usually I see the same ad every single time, but yesterday night I actually saw new ads, like Pepsi I saw, and there's a few other big names too. I was like, wow, so they're getting big ad, like big sponsor ads, right? So that means, you know, the app model is working, and you know, because I think that's the key, right? If they can get those big guys to put ads, that's where they're gonna make the big money, right? So yeah, so I'm very optimistic about this stock. It's come a long way, right? Like no one talk about this stock as much as I think it should, because it has really done well, like, you know, since the bottom here. Most people talk about other stocks, but they don't talk about this one as much. So I feel like, you know, now look at these numbers here. This is crazy, right? Look at these numbers. So it's going like growing triple digit again. Well, that's because this one quarter is really low, but you know, but like I said, the 13 million subscribers really captured my attention. So Apple is also not the strongest stock out of the magnificent ones. It has come back up and it's trying to stay, you know, above the 50-day. So that's a good, like, so here it fell below it. Now it's trying to stay above it. So obviously the earnings season will determine, whether it will stay above or below, right? And so that's what this stock is probably going to wait for. Google has already started to move, which I find very interesting, right? It did this before the earnings, and you see how strong the slope is. I'm not sure why, but definitely investors liking this stock right now. And you know, we had this cup with handle base here, and it couldn't move for a while. Like it was stuck at this range for a while, and then, like, you know, more than a week ago it broke out and then kind of took off now. So now the slope is really strong. Again, the numbers are definitely getting better. So who knows? We'll see what they say. Was it Google who cut a lot of jobs? I can't remember recently. I think they did, right?
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe that also, you know, what sparked the investor interest in this stock right now is they think the bottom line will be better, you know, will be better, right? Because their earnings will be stronger because they cut expenses going forward. So that might mean their guidance might improve. So that probably why its stock's moving so fast. Because, you know, yeah. So yeah, because I did try this stock a few times, it didn't work out, and then finally it worked. So this is now working. And then we also have Microsoft earnings this week. So Microsoft doing similar. You have a base on base, and it finally take off, right? So the slope is not as strong as Google, but it's still pretty good. Yeah. So on the weekly chart, you can see it finally take off. But yeah, earnings coming up, so, you know, probably a lot of people are watching this closely because they want to know what the sales of Copilot look like. That's the huge one since November. So they'll at least be able to report 2 months of that data. And yeah, and I think that, you know, whatever comes out of it, that will spark the AI theme, because Nvidia is still far away, at least a month of earnings away, a month away. So this will be the earliest indicator of where the AI is working, and I think, you know, that could also spark the whole tech area. You know, maybe that's when the broad sector might start to take off. I don't know, but so far it has been very limited, right? I think, you know, if you go look at some AI stuff like Palantir, see, it's still having lots of trouble. It tried to come back up, but it fell, right? Look at that. If you look at C3 AI, same thing, came back up, but then it fell. So the AI team hasn't really moved for a while now, other than the big cap, Microsoft and Nvidia, right? So let's go look at Nvidia. So Nvidia obviously move out, you know, earlier than most of them, and look at that, you know, it's already up 24% based on this base here. Yeah, this is, you know, really strong. I mean, overall the chip sector is, I mean, the numbers you cannot, you know, you can't, like, that's why so many people, you know, I think February 21st, right, is the day they, right? It's funny because, like, so many analysts, like, know this date by hand because they're saying this is the day that they'll move the market. Interesting. So, you know, Nvidia is still the number one growth stock to look at in terms of where the, you know, the leadership is. And yeah, like right now it's so strong, like, you know, it's probably might be a time for it to settle down a little bit after a 24% move in like a few weeks. So it might build a sideways pattern, hopefully let the 10-day catch up and then bounce off it and go again, right? So but because it moves so early before the earnings, I find that very interesting, because, you know, earnings still over a month away. So yeah, so that's that one. Amazon, like I told you, like I tried this stock so many times, like it just keep building base. It just doesn't move as much, right? I feel like it's starting to move. I don't know. It's starting to. I don't know. It's only been a couple of days, so I don't know. But at least it's some acceleration here. So we'll see. So yeah, Amazon is like, you know, a lot of people like Amazon. Some analysts even sold, like one analyst even sold all their Meta. We'll talk about Meta next. And then they bought Amazon because they feel it's undervalued. But yeah, numbers are strong on this guy too. So yeah, I think if Amazon can start to move, it might look like the 50-day line. I mean, it's pretty strong slope. So maybe it's just giving it time. Look at this run right here, right? Like, this is pretty strong. So look at Meta. Obviously, Meta is still very strong. This is also like what, almost 20% gain now from the base here. So this is the base. Again, this same thing. It took a while for it to move, and then it finally moved. And now, yeah, 21% from this base here. But most people probably, you know, it's probably right here. So probably like 5% range there. So probably like you're up 10 to 15% depending on where you get it. But yeah, it has finally moved and it's getting to the 400 level. Yeah, this stock is really strong. I mean, this is one of the best stock last year, and this year is also looking to be, you know, pretty similar. Like not as strong of a slope, but pretty similar trend. So again, numbers are turning around. So all these stocks, these big caps, are still doing really well because, again, looks like the leadership is continuing on these guys. That's why QQQ is, you know, stronger. Yeah. So this week, you know, some of the stocks that are, you know, doing well. So two stocks that, you know, kind of, yeah. So GCT, like, you know, it has undergone a huge correction. Well, you know, not a big one, but enough. Like, I don't know how many percent this is, but so one thing I find this chart, like, so it went up, like, you know, pretty strong here. So if you have got into this, you probably have a good gain there. I find this stock move very similar to the Bitcoin stocks. So I don't know why, but it's interesting. I don't know if it's because it's small cap, but anyhow. But what I found interesting about this chart is like recently it tested these lows twice here, you know, so one here and one here, right? And so that's interesting that it survived both times, and now look at where it is. It's like almost at new high. So it's a new closing high, so that's very good. And yeah, so it's very near the intraday high. So I find this very interesting. So, but yeah, I found this bottom here, tested twice, and it survived. So, so to me, this is very good chart because, you know, and the numbers are, you know, in line, very strong, right? So there's no doubt. Yeah, so this is computer tech service, so that's one of the group we saw. That's in the top of the industry group. So March 15 is when its earnings come out, and so it still have a long time to go before the earnings. So, and the stock already moved, you know, since last earnings, it really took off. So, and the trend is so strong. So I don't know, I feel like it could go a lot higher. Yeah. Mara, one of the Bitcoin guys, and you know, we have this strong uptrend here, and then it fell apart. And you know, this week looks pretty good. Like the selling days are much lower volume. and very tight, right? It didn't really, and it hold this low here, so that's also impressive. And now it's back, it's closer to 10-day and also 50-day. So the 50-day has caught up. So that's good. So yeah, we'll see. Obviously, this will move according to the Bitcoin. So like if you look at GBTC, it's probably very similar. Yeah, so it did find, so this one found support at 50-day. Now it's above 10-day. So yeah, looks really good. The only other stock I follow is my MSTR. Yeah, so MicroStrategy have a strong uptrend here, and then it went down. Now it's trying to come back above 10-day. Yeah, so this one looks slightly weaker in my opinion than Mara, but but they're probably gonna behave similarly. So if those guys move up, this one will also move up. But at this moment, I like Mara a little bit more. But Friday the volume did come in to support the stocks, because Wednesday and Thursday it didn't. But if you look at Mara again, I guess it's similar, yeah. So Friday also the volume came in. So we'll see whether this is just a short bounce or whether it has legs. Yeah, we'll see. So they're still facing the key moving average. But the good sign is the GPTC like shows that it's already above the 10-day. So this one's acting a lot stronger, less volatile than the stock itself. So we have VRT still doing pretty good. SMCI. Okay, let's take a look at SMCI. So this stock really rocket, since that pre-earnings announcement, preliminary earnings announcement, and it has been holding pretty strong, moving upwards. And then the 10-day is catching up right now, still a little bit away. So it's potential that it could test that 10-day, I think. And then the 21-day is also coming up pretty fast. So I mean, there's a high chance, right? It can break through 10-21-day. But to me, I feel like SMCI, I mean, unless they really announce something like this coming week until Monday close, unless they announce something really different, I can see a sell on the news kind of thing, but I still think this is a tremendous stock. I would try to find. I mean, I'm already at full position, but I would be willing to add more just because I feel like this one is just such a strong stock, right? Last year, and I feel like it broke out on this long base. I think it could go, similar like last year. It could go a long way. This is a super stock. I feel like this is a super leader. So yeah, and if the AI theme is strong, I think look at this volume here. Like every week was higher. Like it's just someone is buying this stock. There's no way it moved this way. It's already up 39%. From the top here. Right now it's up 33%. So it's down 6% from the top. But it's just a lot of volume. Like this is not done by just regular people like me and you. This is done by institutions. So someone really liked the prospect of this stock. So yeah, I think there's a good chance this could be another super leader this year. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, it's holding so strong. Like I just can't believe it. I thought it was gonna pull back. It didn't. Anyhow, okay. So that's SMCI. We talk about Nvidia, CLS. The industrial area is okay. They're not doing super strong right now, but who knows? They could change. AMD, yeah, AMD is another similar to Nvidia, very strong. I think this one probably even outperform Nvidia. I'm not sure. I mean, it depends where you buy from, but yeah, I think if you buy that level, it's up quite a bit. But yeah, very similar to Nvidia, both of them. But I still like Nvidia a lot more. I think one of the analysts sold his shares on AMD on this week. Like he basically took all the gains. Yeah. Shopify. Yeah, Shopify continue to amaze me. Like it's one of the stock that has, it has broke out, but it hasn't moved much. I mean, it takes longer to move, so like it is up 20% from this base here, but that's after 8 weeks of move. So this is since November, right? It hasn't, it has moved, but it hasn't moved as much as some other guys. But overall, this stock is just continue to amaze me. The volume is not there, so I don't know. Yeah, so we'll have to see what the earnings look like in a couple of weeks here. So, but it is, one of the stocks that are at least holding up pretty strong. Yeah. ServiceNow, ServiceNow has recently, again, it pulled back right here, and that is an opportunity to buy. It already came out of this base, went up 6-7 weeks there. So now it's doing the same thing again. It's up 3 weeks in a row now. So this stock continues to be a strong leader. It's price-wise, it's very expensive, $700. But the earnings, look at the earnings number. It's so consistent. I think like, let me see. There's earnings stability 4. That means it's in like the top 4 percentile in terms of stability. Like that's how stable this is. And institutions love this stock. I think it's just able to deliver. And there was some, I don't know if there was some news, but I was hearing some analysts talking about, I don't know if it's who was talking about it, actually, I forgot now. Saying how they will be able to capitalize a lot on their AI stuff, because so many companies use ServiceNow in the enterprise world. They will be able to, it's similar to Microsoft, right? Like a lot of companies use Microsoft software, and same thing with ServiceNow. So these guys will be able to upsell easily on the AI stuff. So that's why I think there's also huge potential for ServiceNow. Yeah. I forgot to look at I just want to look at the index for a second, the ETFs. So let's look at CHIP. So CHIP, it reversed, and it's down 3.9% from the top. But it's overall still up 0.5%. IGV, again, a midday high. It's down 1% from the top, and overall this week is up 1%. So yeah, so software outperformed this week, whereas chip outperformed last week. So we'll see what the pattern looks like going forward. When the software can, obviously we're going to see more software now reporting, so we'll see how that looks like. But yeah, but these are some of the software stocks. Melly continue to do well. Yeah, it's moving at a really fast pace now. It finally broke out from this short base here. So hopefully, I mean, these numbers are incredible, right? So, yeah, this is just unbelievable numbers. Like you look at this, you can see even, count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It just keep going up. So, this is the Amazon of the South America. So, it's so strong. EDU starting to come back up a little bit. Expedia also coming back up a little bit. Amazon we already talked about. So there's a lot of financials that moved this week, right? Like AGO is one of them. So this guy in the insurance group, they still continue to do well. It just look at, it's starting to accelerate now, which is interesting. Yeah, so right now you can see the 10 days shot up. Before it was at this slope, now it has shot up. So that's very interesting. And then we have Double Verify. Double Verify finally came out from this base. Cup with handle pattern. This is a very nice cup with handle pattern. Yeah, so no selling in this handle above average volume, and then it came out on higher average volume. So this is a perfect cup with handle breakout. Yeah, and it's moving really fast right now. I mean, the 50-day slope is at over 45-degree angle, but the 10-day is like moving even faster. So, and you can see the numbers are pretty good, right? So, yeah, I think this one has potential. So it hasn't been in the radar of many people for a long time, so now it's starting to move. Adobe, okay, let's look at Adobe quickly, because I think it also is trying to move now. Yeah, so it's trying to move now. It's definitely not as strong as the other mega caps we saw earlier, but it is trying to come out of the space. And it has AI theme to it, because you know a lot of the software is now AI enabled. Then we have some financial COF reported this week, and it break out of this little flat base here. So it has already moved a lot, and this is a very strong slope of the 50-day line. So I don't know. I feel like the banks had a breakout week this week. So so you know the numbers are not spectacular for most of the banks, but at least the stock chart is saying another thing, is that there might be, you know, might be a good year for them. Another one I saw was CB Chubb. Okay, so this is also in the insurance group, also starting to move here. It's also starting to accelerate, broke out right here. So yeah, so this is promising. Like these are all. Oh, this one is a big cap. Wow, I didn't know this was that big. But anyhow, yeah, this one's doing pretty well. Let's see here, XP. This is investment banker broker. So it's still in the cup of handle base, hasn't come out yet, but we'll see. Zero group, Zillow, yeah, Zillow. I think they're trying to move again. Hasn't really broke out yet, so a lot of stocks are doing this right now. So we'll see. IBM, oh man, IBM came out this week, right, on the earnings. So it's a very strong, you know, breakout. Well, it's not even breakout anymore. It's like extended, but it did bounce off here. That was your last chance, and then it took this like huge volume, huge. I mean, there's a few sticking out volume here. So something's happening, yeah. And then the earnings really take it to a whole new level. This is the highest level in a long time. Look at this. So yeah, I'm surprised. IBM. The computer tech service, right? Like it's the same group as GCT. Doing really well. Then we have more financial, again, PGR, Insurance Group, SYF, TBBK, retail restaurants. Some of the restaurants starting to move. Let's look at this shack. Let me try it. So here we have this base here. It's trying to come out right now. We'll see if it happens. Yeah, hard to say. We'll see. Caterpillar. Very interesting Caterpillar stock to move. Yeah, look at this base here. It came out this week. Barely, but it did. And this, you know, not many industrial stock did that well this week, but this is one of them. Well, it's actually more related to commodities, right? They do more, and I mean, they do all kinds of stuff. But yeah, but because the commodities went up, I don't know. You know, this kind of in that group more. There's more commodities related than industrial. But yeah, I like this chart. Nice. I don't know why. Oh yeah, temporary line right here. So it came out. Volume is there. And look at Friday. It's trading so tight, right? Even when they give back. This is really good sign. There's no selling volume. Look at it. Very little. This one is only one day here at the bottom. But overall, there's a lot more accumulation than distribution. So I like this. I like this chart. Look at the weekly chart. That's more obvious right here. So I think like, and then the selling volume is really low. Look at that. So I think this one has, and numbers, look at this number, same thing, 2, 3, 3, 4, 5, right? So, you know, when you see that kind of numbers, that's really good sign. So yeah. Although Caterpillar doesn't move much every time it breaks out, so I don't know. So something to be aware of. But who knows? Maybe this is finally will move. I don't know. But AXP also surprised me. So that's the American Express. Good earnings, right? It broke out of this long base. Oh my! Look at how long this is. Again, numbers are improving. Yeah, so like I said, the financials are really surprising me right now. Like they're doing much better. So I don't know, what that means, but that could be a good thing, right? So yeah. So I think the surprise part makes it jump even more. So yeah. We saw some, industrial ones, OSK in the trucks area, HQY in the commercial services area, TXT in aerospace defense, more insurance group, WRB, AIG, Appfolio. Oh man, this one. See, this is what I'm talking about. If those software guys can do the same thing as this guy, we're in good shape. So here it finally broke out, really strong on earnings, huge volume, like super huge. Let me see how many times. 1.8, average is 232,000. It's like 8 times the volume. Oh my god. Yeah. So this is this is a small cap stock, 8 billion, but it has moved big before, so but it's definitely more choppy. I don't know why though. But anyhow, this is probably one of the biggest moves if you look at history, this is one of the biggest moves ever. So something I don't know. The numbers are insane right now. Look at these numbers here. So I think yeah. Yeah, I was following this, around here. So this was a good run right here, and who knows, maybe you can do the same thing here. But yeah, so the volume is like so high. Gotta pay attention. Whenever the volume is so high, something's happening. So that's a really good story. It was out on my radar for a while, and then now it's show up. WMG Group, Leisure Service also did good. Raise starting to come back. ALV in the auto truck. Oracle. Yeah, Oracle. I haven't bought this stock in a long time. Even during this run, I didn't buy it. It's like the earning guidance was much too low for me. But now the numbers are turning up. Look at this, starting to improve, and well, sales numbers not as strong though. That's the only thing. So I don't know, but it is moving right now. It's a really strong slope. I don't know if it will go far. I have no idea, but everything looks good on the chart. So I've taken a small position so far. So we'll see. Yeah. And volume looks pretty good here. No selling. Look at those selling volume really low. The one that surprised me the most this week is Berkshire. Actually, IBD wrote an article this week about Berkshire. It broke out, and the slope is really strong right now. The volume is tremendous. You can see here, selling volume is like almost none. And on the weekly chart, you see the same thing. So, and the base, like I said, really nice tight base. And this is at new high right now. So this is pretty, for a stock this size, it's like pretty good, right? So so there's a theme, like probably one of the theme that people are talking about, like Jeremy Seagal was on Friday. I have to watch it again because I was watching it and then I need to absorb what he said. Really, he looked at it from two perspectives. You're either a growth investor or value investor, or both, right? You could be both. But if you're looking at the growth side, he thinks it's limited. He didn't say zero, but he says it's limited, which is kind of more Nasdaq based, right? But if you're more value, when you're looking at the smaller cap guys or industrial, like those are the undervalued guys right now. and those ones have much more potential for bigger gains this year, he said. So, yeah. So, but like I said, we still haven't seen Russell move yet. But like I said, I'm hopeful it will move eventually. And when those guys move, but this is a value, right? Like this is a value diversified type of company, and it's moving, all-time high, right? So this is crazy. This stock, again, Berkshire has shown to so many investors that they're doing everything right. This is a really good long-term investment. It continues to do well, and now it's proving it again. It broke out this week, like really strong. So, yeah. So I'm trying to build a full position on this right now. Looks really good. Yeah, like so Datadog is definitely got a little bit choppy here. I mean the volume is really high. I don't know, is there any news or no? But the pullback is very steep. Right, cause even this pullback, look, there's no volume, right? But here the volume is so high, so that worries me a little bit. So I got shaken out of this. So yeah, but yeah, I don't like it when there's such a high. Like it's not just one day, right? This is 3 days of strong volume selling. So I would be very cautious because like either someone knows something or just someone trying to get out, and like there's still 2 weeks to the earnings news. I don't know what's gonna happen, but this is not normal behavior, right? Yeah, but even here, like the first time I undercut this, but then it came back up really strong. So now it gave back a lot, more than half. So yeah, I don't know what to make of this. Like definitely 50 days still a support line. So it did find that support. So I don't know. We'll see. But like I said, this stock is definitely volatile. Celsius, yeah. This like anytime I see a chart that looks like this. So this is like what I call a L-shaped pattern, right? Anytime I see an L-shaped pattern, that's a bearish pattern. Like if you go to Tesla, you see that, right? So, well, maybe not here. I don't know. So actually, no, I don't see it here. But yeah, so let's go back to Celsius. But yeah, when you see L-shaped pattern, it's always a very bearish pattern. Doesn't mean it won't work. It's just usually there's a higher chance it'll break down further. And look at how it never came back to the 10-day line on the bounce. Like it never even come close to it, right? So that's also a negative sign, right? Obviously RS lines all at the bottom, but that's another thing. Yeah. So CrowdStrike, probably the strongest leader one of the strongest leader in the market. Again, I'm not sure like if this can keep going, but it's definitely one of the strongest one. Right now, you see a little bit weaker relative strength this week. But sometime, this stock has been proven that even here a little bit weaker relative strength, but it came back, right? And then now we're seeing the same thing again. So whether it can bounce, I don't know. But so this whole security group is just super strong. Like the other one is, but right this week it given back. So I don't know what that means. Like same thing with CYBR, it gave back. So the whole group gave back this week, but they all make new high this week, right? So that was I don't know. Yeah, so I don't know if they will keep going. ESTC doing okay. Workday also giving back. So I don't like it when I see stock giving back. Like, not a lot, but because we have a pretty good week, right? Like overall, it's a positive week for the market. I don't like when stocks are, give up all the gains for the week. That's usually a bad sign. That's what happened to Duolingo, right? Like when it first, we haven't talked about this stuff for a while now, but like that's what happened. I think around the top, I was like, why did it give back the gains? And then, nonetheless, the next week it went down, and then it continued. So this is still a good stock. It's just right now it's consolidating, and just like Palantir, a lot of AI stocks related theme are not doing as well right now, including we just saw Adobe. Very interesting. But we'll see if Microsoft can spark the AI theme again. That will be one thing to watch for. We have Goose House Insurance Group, SAP, CDNS, all those guys starting to show okay strength. Yeah, we already talked about CB. And then this so that's all the stocks are at the top are from this week. ANF, I haven't looked at. Let's see how it's doing.
Yeah, ANF. I want to look at it.
It
How do you
continue.
identify this kind of stuff? Oh my God.
It's still, like I said, it's an energizer bunny, easy to hold type of stock. Yeah, just keep going, right? Just keep going, until something changes. This is just institutions, holding the stock, doesn't want to let go. It's been such a long time too, right? Like, when did this start? Last year, summertime.
Yeah.
So I mean, I didn't, like I say, I didn't get in early. Like, I missed a whole chunk of this, So, but yeah, it's pretty good. Firm. So all these are from last week. Let's look at ANET. Okay, ANET is still doing well. Again, this is not. I mean, right now it's starting to look better. Like, the slope has gone up a little bit. So which is good. Sometimes, I'd rather have stocks like this than fast flying stock, because those ones you probably need to sell. Like, that's probably those ones you need to sell in strength. Because yeah, but this one's, like ANF, these guys, they're much easier to hold, and you just hold on to it if you and then yeah, let's do a GitLab. GitLab, I don't know, because last week it did very well. I don't know about this week. Let's see. Yeah, it's still holding tight at the top. I mean, the relative strength line is just flat, so it looks good. It's holding up. That's one thing you want to see, right? And after you kind of break out, you don't want to give back too much. You just want to go sideways at the minimum, and let the 50-day here catch up. This is a strong slope, so I feel like GitLab has a lot of potential. I was at a conference, and there's a startup like this guy I'm talking to. He's like starting up a similar Copilot kind of thing, like on source based stuff. I was like, oh, so you're competing with GitLab? He's like, yeah, maybe. So it seems like this space has a lot of innovation, and obviously GitLab is the leader here. Yeah. So, Team Monday. Oh, there's an article on Monday this week. Let's look at that. Yeah, look at this. Nice breakout. Came out on this area. I didn't read the story yet, but yeah, this is a nice break. Nice. I mean, it tried to break out many times right here. It just came back down to the 50-day line. One more test. So and then now it took off. So this one is a strong numbers. Look at those numbers. So let's look at daily. Yeah. So this, it gave back a little bit from the top, but look at the volume, right? No one wants to sell. And then, again, whenever I see stocks that didn't want to touch the 10-day, look at this. It didn't even touch the 10-day when it came down. That's strong. Like, those are little signs you want to watch for. That's a strong sign, right? Because they don't even want to touch the 10-day. It's just a lot of support. Yeah. So this stock has huge potential, I think. It's starting to finally move. It took a long time. We'll see. MDB, yeah, MDB, not. Let's see. Yeah, it hasn't come out yet. It has still stuck in this, but the consolidation is tighter now. So, it has a huge move last year, right there. So, but right now it's just stuck. I mean, this space is probably okay. Right, the selling volume is starting to die down. So it could be one of those stocks that bounce on earnings. It did have a huge gap up right here on earnings. So it could be one of those stocks that does that. Just waiting for that. But yeah, but it's not as strong as I want it to be. Yeah, Salesforce, Netflare. Yeah, let's look at those. Those are bigger cap too. The Salesforce, yeah, doing really good. Salesforce, look at this. just riding the 10-day. Again, see this? Never touch the 10-day. That's how strong it is, right? So when they pull it back, it doesn't want to touch the 10-day. Doesn't mean it won't. It's just, I'm just saying there's lots of support, right? At this moment. So so I like, and this is the 50-day slope, really strong. And look at these numbers. So one thing I've realized, right, like as I go through this today, is how many of them have like good numbers. Look at this number. They're accelerating, right? $1, 160, 169, $2 now, right? So that's something I realized, right now, is that the numbers are starting to accelerate, which is really good news for the fundamentals. I mean, look at net. This is like, look at this. 6 cents, 1 cent, 6 cents, 8 cents, 10 cents, 6 cents. Look at this. It keep growing, right? So obviously this stock hasn't come out yet. It tried to and it fell, and then now it's stuck in this range. But but the fundamentals are strong. So look at this volume. Look at this. So this one came back to 10-day, even tried to come back to 21. But the volume selling is not there. So it just need more time. Those guys need more time.
Snow?
Snow, yeah. Snow. Yeah, Snow, a lot of people talk about this stock. It's not on my radar, but a lot of people like this stock. Look at this base here. Came out, fall back twice. A lot of people got chopped up. And if you lost the patience, now it broke out. And now it's sitting, pretty tight. Again, didn't want to touch the 10-day this week. Like I said, it doesn't mean it won't touch it next week, but at least this week it shows strength. And look at the volume. Look at that. Yeah. So a lot of people like this stock, I know. So this is a good sign. It came out this week, actually. So yeah, came out. Like, again, look at the numbers. See, 0, 1 cent, 11 cent. You have one misguided quarter, and then you have now it resume 15, 22, 25. You see, they're all accelerating in earnings, right? So, so I noticed that this time, right? This time, because it's been so many quarters now, and I'm seeing a trend of like growth in earnings. So that's good. Yeah, that's pretty much it in general. I mean, like I said, there's like Travelers broke out again. Another insurance group broke out this week on earnings. Huge gap up. Oh, that was last week actually, on Friday. Yeah, look at this. Trading really tight this week. Look at this number. Right, $4. Now it's $7. It's crazy, right? So I don't know. I don't know why the insurance group is doing so well. That's interesting, right? Look at this chart. It's just insane. Now, look at this tightness. That's insane, right? It didn't want to come even close to 10-day, and then the selling volume is decreasing. Interesting. So, I feel like overall, I feel like the market is showing some strength, right? And even though we have so little earnings so far, we're gonna get more earnings this week, and I think, I think there will be, hopefully more expansion in terms of stocks that are, as we see, as earnings number grow, we will start to see more stocks expand in terms of doing better, and hopefully, again, we'll come back, we'll finish off this video with the index. And I feel like we sometimes we need to look at the big picture, and NASDAQ, we're getting closer, right? You can see this uptrend. We are getting closer and closer to the all-time high, and we already see S&P pass through that, and look at this week, right? In no hesitation, it just continued to take off. Dow, was the first one to break out. Look at this, right? It's just holding. It doesn't want to come back down. It did test it a little bit, but look at this. We make new high again, right? So there's so much bullishness on the index chart. The only one is Russell, right? We're just waiting for this 2000 breakout, and I feel like if it try to test it one more time, I think it will pass this time. And again, a lot of this will depend on the earnings, and whether the small caps can pull off on the earnings side and show that, hey, even in this environment, high interest rate environment, they can still grow. And that will really be bullish after that, like super bullish. I feel like because this guy has the most to catch up, is the furthest behind, and if they can prove it, they will do really well. And that's why, as we saw, I feel like, this is just the beginning. I feel like, we're seeing the financials, taking off this week. I think the financials are the ones that have been lagging the most, one of the most, and now they're starting to show up. And so I feel like, they can do well. Like AMP also reported this week. We already talked about CB, but yeah. So anyhow, in general, that's what I'm hoping this for more of that. The airline, the numbers, weren't the best, but they still move up, which is also surprising. Let's look at jets, because I haven't touched this group in a long time. So you can see, very close to a cut with handle breakout on the weekly chart. And then, here's a little tight base here on the daily chart. And, it hasn't come out, but getting very close. And I'm surprised because, the numbers are not the best, but still, the chart had, if you look at AAL, yeah. So this one came out. Interesting. So this one came out, AAL. ALK. This one probably didn't do as well because of the Boeing issues. But what's the other one? The DAL. This one's open. So far only AAL I've seen. So the other one's RYAY. This one's European. This one is trading pretty tight. It's okay. This one looks pretty good. The chart. There's no selling volume. Yeah. But anyhow, so it looks like the jets are doing okay right now.